Gautam sir, I want to understand from you, you have built Raymond. Raymond has long championed the made in India narrative globally. How can Indian brands move beyond contract manufacturing to building globally respected fashion and lifestyle labels? We want to understand from you because you have already done that.
So firstly, let me clarify. I have not built Raymond. Raymond has been built over 100 years. And Raymond is more than a brand. I think Raymond is a national asset. You're talking about building brands abroad. I think it's really important to know why you want to build a brand abroad when the largest consumption population is in this country. So if you see at Raymond, we do all our branded business fundamentally in India and the Middle East. The minute we want to build a brand in the UK, yes, it looks very good to do, it's very interesting to do, but the chances of success are very, very low. And there are very few Indian brands that have probably succeeded in the international markets. I think it takes a lot of disproportionate time, energy, effort, capital to want to achieve this egoistic, opportunity of that I have, Raymond is being sold on Oxford Street. We've debated this hundreds of times to do it or not, and the answer is no. Having said that, if you come out with a different product, which we are just going to be launching in a month's time, in about a month and a half, 2 months' time, I think that has an opportunity to go global because it has a unique distinction in what we're going to do.
Exciting opportunities ahead.
Sorry?
Exciting opportunities ahead, which means?
Yeah, well, we're looking at the opportunity. We're looking at we want to see the success of it first in India. And then if it succeeds, I think that has a USP to do something.
That's nice, sir. So with a strong value chain spanning fiber to fashion, is India uniquely positioned to become the world's most trusted textile and apparel hub? What do you think? What structural advantages do we hold over competing markets, according to you?
So yes, I think, if you're sitting in the US and you're looking out towards the east, where do you go to manufacture? You go China, and the China plus one strategy is playing out. Of course, cost is a very important factor to it, but there are a lot of other advantages. India is a democracy. People look at the market. And, when we're in the boardroom and people say, China is doing this, or Vietnam's doing this, or Bangladesh is doing it. And I say, why don't you look at your numbers? Your sales are going up. So obviously, you are doing something right. There's an advantage that you have. Like at Raymond, the biggest advantage we have is a full package service. So it's not only about price all the time. Today, we make the fabric, we make the garments, we do the design, we do the sampling, we do everything. If you had to go to Bangladesh to make, Bangladesh does not have a fabric supply. So an international company would come to India, buy the fabric from here, and then ship it to Bangladesh. Two things. One, supposing Raymond delays in the fabric, the garment guy is not going to make it up. Number two, there's a transportation time. So if you give a full package solution, people are willing to pay for that. And that's a soft advantage.
That's nice. I hope you all are taking notes of it and planning to build businesses from India, for sure. So Raymond has been steadily expanding exports across the US and Europe. What are global retailers and consumers seeking from Indian textile and apparel companies today? Is it price competitiveness, craftsmanship, sustainability, or reliability?
I think it's all eventually about a full package. Who gives the best full package? And whilst a lot of people talk about price, I think the idea of being able to have convenience of, so we don't look at our customers anymore as customers. We look at them as strategic partners, and they look at us as strategic partners. So say, for example, tomorrow they want an express order because something is sold out, and they want to push it through the line. We will support them. But then when there's a tough time, they will support us. So we are building large customers. I mean, about 3 years ago, we looked at the tail, and we said, below this line, we're just going to discontinue because, 10% customers meet 80% of your orders. So the bottom tail we removed.
So next thing, I want to touch upon some macroeconomics questions. With new trade opportunities opening up, including India-EU collaborations, how critical is large-scale skilling and upskilling to meet global demand? What role should industry leaders play in building the next gen of craftsmen and designers?
Well, if you're talking about exports, you don't need craftsmen and designers. So that's one part, skilling. How do you manufacture at scale? How do you do that? That is one. So today, Raymond today is the third largest garment manufacturer in the world. We do now about 11 million pieces. So we've got scale on that side. How do we build designers and that skill set? You know, that's really the DNA of a country. India can play cricket and Italy can design fabrics. And that's a country-specific advantage. It's your ecosystem. How do you create that ecosystem for design? I think India has got some great design. It's got some great DNA of design which other countries can't do. It's just that how do we take advantage of that? And that's part of the new concepts that we're going to be coming out with.
So India consumption story is also improving, right? What should world look and learn from India while we talk about the consumption and consumers?
India fundamentally is 1.4 billion people. I mean, when COVID happened, everybody said, how will India survive? And I said, India will survive on domestic consumption. I mean, the world is looking at India because where's a market like this? When COVID happened, I said, the first thing the people are going to do is going to take a train or a bus and go to Goa, and Goa tourism is going to resume, and that's exactly what happened. Today, global markets are looking at India as a consumption story. And I think our Modi government played it extremely smart on the FTA. You know, we ignored Europe as a market. Having gone and signed the FTAs post-HAP with Europe, I think US came back because they also realized that India is the consumption story for their products. So Raymond as a company, I think more and more, and a larger percentage of our business is becoming onshore. We're becoming less export dependent because all our real estate as a percentage of the total is all Bombay-centric and Bombay-focused. So we're very happy with that.
And how do you think these FTAs are going to benefit the Indian consumption story in many ways? Because you just touched upon that. This is the reason why they are coming to India. So how it is improving the India's consumption story?
See, I mean, if you take the UK FTA, British products will become cheaper for the Indian consumer. And also, you will get access to the UK market. So today, we have large customers in the UK. They will gravitate more away from the Bangladesh and the Vietnam because they will see India's FTA, lower duties, and that will benefit us from their, you know, if you're buying cars from the UK, if you're buying wine from France, it'll all become cheaper. So the Indian consumer will get a benefit out of this.
Do you think the Indian upcoming brands have the possibility to become conglomerates in the near future?
You know, it depends which segment you are and what you want to do. But if you see Indian, like, does Raymond want to become an international brand? My categorical answer is no. Because I have a lot more opportunity to do expansion in retail within India, more product segments, more verticals, more brands. Going to a new country is a whole new challenge which we go in for the wrong reasons and then we don't assess the risk of failure. And if you know, the failure is a big issue that you don't understand the environment, you don't understand the people, you don't. And then number two, as a company where Raymond is also manufacturing apparel, you then get perceived as a competitor to your own customers, which is not good.
So next 10 years, how do you see India's retail consumption, and with all these FTAs, how is India's retail going to change and consumer expectations going to change?
You know, I think the consumer expectations are changing every. Atul's an expert on that. But I think the way we see it, with exposure, with social media and physical media and all kinds of media, the consumer knows what he wants. And he's a very evolving consumer. Number two, as a country progresses, desires and needs go up. People want a better lifestyle. If you see, just take a sector like real estate and see what's happening in Bombay and see what Devendraji has done with infrastructure. I think in the next 5 years, there's going to be no city in the world that will get investment like Mumbai will. Mumbai is going to completely transform, whether it's from eateries to retail, to quality of life, to infrastructure, to housing. And this is a huge, huge change that I think is not only going to happen in Bombay, it's going to happen in India. And if India is going to become the third largest and second largest economy in the world, somebody came to India and said, nobody's going to wear shoes because nobody wears shoes. And somebody came to India and said, there's a great market to sell shoes because nobody wears shoes. And it's the same thing. We did not develop our infrastructure and we did not develop our country in the last 50 years. So what we've done in the last 10 years will happen in the next 5, will happen in the next 3. You see the scale of projects that are happening. You see the scale of infrastructure. I mean, even if you take an airline, India has become the largest buyer of planes in the world. We're setting up aircraft manufacturing companies. We're setting up helicopter manufacturing companies. So all of this is going to really drive the India consumption story.
So India has a very bright future going ahead.
I live here when there's a number that 8,000 Indian businessmen went away to Dubai and other parts of the world. I'm a strong believer in this country. And, I told Modi ji when I met him, and I said, so one of the best political lines you gave, which he beautifully used, he said, when you see work in progress written on the streets, and we always complain and say, kya ho raha hai, this, blah, blah, blah. And Modi ji said, aap ye jo dekhte hai, ye work in progress, ye mera Bharat ban raha hai. Which is a true fact. And I said, Modi ji, I said, ye aapke Bharat banane mein, hum bhi aapke saath jud gaye hain.
And I guess hum sab jude hain, sir.
Hum sab jude hain hamare Bharat banane mein.
Thank you so much, sir. On this high note, we'll wrap this conversation. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.